You're just moments away from a brand new episode of WTF Nations Radio's Pop Culture Warrior, hosted by the dynamic duo CQ and Radar. Pop Culture Warrior is your number one source for all things entertainment. If it's happening in TV, movies, video games, or comedy, they're all over it. And don't forget to say hi in the comments below. And while you're at it, let the boys know what you think and what you'd like to hear them talk about. Now strap in and get comfortable, because you're in for one hell of a ride. This is Pop Culture Warrior. Shots.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Today's March 30th, 2021, and this is episode 50 of Pop Culture Warrior, the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture, so you don't have to. I'm CQ. I'm the Pop Culture Warrior, and with me as always is our very own door gunner, the man in the bubble, the voice of the unpop cultured, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Radar.
What's up?
Hey, brother.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but I was actually a door gunner in the Marine Corps, and now that's what we're going to talk about tonight is fucking the Marines.
We're going to talk some Marine shit. We're going to talk some
Marine shit.
Some boots, some grunt, some get it done kind of bullshit. Let's go. Guys. Oh, man, I'm so excited. So much to talk about in pop culture world, but I want to preface and say that if you guys are here right now, please check out the second hour. We're going to interview some pretty awesome people that are involved in making the game 6 Days in Fallujah. This is a game that's been, my God, in development for ages. There's a long backstory behind it, how it was developed by one studio and then things fell apart and it got kind of cancel cultured and disappeared, and then this new studio comes in and they bring it back, and now it's coming. So we got I'm gonna butcher names here, Peter Tamte and Read Omohundro. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get original development of the game and in its current iteration as well. So these guys have a lot of information. We're gonna show you some pictures, we're gonna show you some gameplay footage, we're gonna show you a bunch of stuff. We're gonna ask them all the questions, guys. Right now, nobody's got the scoop on this game. Nobody. Go ahead, Google it. I'll give you a minute. Google it. You know, IGN got the exclusive trailer drop. Cool. But right here on Pop Culture Warrior, we're going to be the first ones talking about the game with the CEO and founder of the studio. So definitely stay tuned for that. Right, Radar? Are we excited Are we excited
Dude,
for
I'm
this?
fucking excited as shit, dude. This is amazing. I'm so happy right now. Like you can't even. I
You
really
can't
am.
tell, but that's Radar's happy face. That's his happy.
Radar doesn't change faces at all.
What's going on? Hey guys, I see you out there, Dakota, Molly. What's up, Nick? Man, I see you guys in the chats, man. Thank you so much for checking out the show. First timer, Molly says, "Hey, welcome." We appreciate first timers. Hopefully, it won't be a last timer. You know, obviously, we're here to bring you guys.
Dakota's a 13 Fox. Good job, buddy.
13 Fox in the house. Look at you. Look at you.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, nah, man. I'm super pumped, and this is gonna be so much fun. We're gonna have an absolute blast. Let's start it off with obviously the thing that I know me and you both want to talk about. The most recent episode 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Man, what
Yes.
did you think? First, was I right or was I right?
You were kind of right.
You
were wrong.
I wasn't wrong. I said that I could totally see them introducing kind of the past black super soldiers, right? Because in the comic books there was like a black Captain America who had been experimented on, and like they were using him, and like and look at this. I expected that to like come out over the course of a couple episodes, and boom, episode 2. Right out the gate, basically, we get the reveal that that you know, African Americans were being experimented on, and they were able to replicate at least one into being kind of a super soldier, and what did he get for it?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. We're gonna back this truck up.
Go for it.
Because you said that there had before Steve Rogers,
Right.
there had been, and it turns out it was not
Right.
that. It was a
That-
Korean.
That was a misspoke on my part.
But you, dude, you got like a fucking 7 out of 10 on that one. You didn't quite hit the bullseye. But...
Give me like an 80. I got like an 80 on it, man. That's damn near perfect.
So you got 8 out of 10. Right.
No, yeah, but it makes sense. Steve Rogers was the original.
Mhm.
Somehow, some way, there was his blood. Maybe they were able to use it to reverse engineer a version of it. We know in the Hulk movie, right, the Abomination had a some type of weird mutated version of that. So yeah, so there's definitely place in the lore to say that, hey, these experiments were happening. We know that Bucky has some version of the super soldier serum in him as well. And
but from Hydra though.
Right,
Not
exactly.
from-
The Hydra version of the super soldier serum, kind of the one like Red Skull had, similar. They probably used his blood to reverse engineer, because in the one scene nobody's talking about how he chased down a truck. Like in the one scene they leave that, remember they were like following the two trucks, and he like chases past one truck at speed to jump on the back of the other one, and I'm like, yeah, super soldier. Like that's what it is. But what else we got here? Hey King, hey Mike, good to see you guys. Does B Captain America have powers? Because he was throwing it like he did. Oh yeah, so I don't believe currently that Captain America, the new Captain America, John Walker, Captain America, has superpowers. I don't believe he does. You know, they said he's off the charts physically, and you know, and he has the reflexes and the endurance and all these things. He got his ass handed to him, first of all. But I think, spoilers, I don't know anything, but I'm guessing using my knowledge to guess. I think the idea of him finding out that there are super soldiers, right, that they have created these, is going to drive him to want it. It's going to push him almost to madness, so that he can, because in his mind, he wants to be Captain America. He wants to be the best version of himself, of Captain America he can be. And to do that, he needs superpowers. So I think he's basically almost going to like trade his soul, so to speak, to get whatever drug or whatever thing that these other guys have, so that he can get powers. And I think that's going to kind of mess with his mind and kind of, you know, trip him out as well. So, and that might lead to other scenarios and kind of why, you know, we've seen clips where Sam and Bucky have the shield, right? How do they get the shield back? So at some point, they gotta take it away from this dude, or he's gotta lose it or something, and I think that's gonna push him to almost like an evil extent. You know, he might be the ultimate bad guy come the end of the series because he gets, you know, his mind kind of melted by the serum and the you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. Don't give me that look, Radar. Don't give me that look.
No,
you
no,
know what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
Right?
So, all right. So I'm gonna throw this out there. This is a theory that I kind of came up with. It's been not bothering me, but I was thinking about it today.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, well, before we came on, that my wife and I rewatched Captain America: The First Avenger last night. After we watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, and so the bad guys, the fucking the
Hydra.
No, not Hydra. We're gonna get the Hydra. We're just gonna get the Hydra. No, not Hajis. That's the video game. No, the fucking hand people.
The flag smashers.
Flag smashers or whatever. Yeah. Okay. In this last episode, they've alluded that they basically are anarchists and want to be done with, global...
I mean, I think anarchist is a bit strong. I think
they just want to be in charge. They want to be...
No, I think they just don't want the people that were in charge to be in charge. I think they want a new society of one. They don't want borders.
They said they didn't agree with the governments.
Right. They don't want borders. They want one united world.
They kind of want the chaos that was there during the blip, right? That's essentially what that Chica said.
Yeah.
The freckled Chica, right?
Yeah.
So, we're going to go back. Hydra, Red Skull, Captain America, where they have that kind of monologue back and forth, right? And Red Skull tells Captain America, Steve Rogers, the real Captain, that he's an idiot, basically, because he fights for a nation.
Right.
And Hydra is trying to create a world without nations. You see that? You see that kind of that
the symmetry, of it. Yeah.
So essentially, a lot of the things, right, are kind of they parallel each other. A lot of and obviously, he didn't want a world with no government. He wanted to be like the leader.
He wanted to rule.
He wanted to rule.
Yeah.
Without the governments in his way, essentially. But I think that this group, this Flag Smashers, is kind of in the same boat. I find it hard to believe that anybody's like going to try to get all the power and then just like give it all away. That's not how it works.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't know their end game. They're kind of a newcomer in this whole villain aspect. But okay, they have super soldiers to an extent. I don't know if I don't think they're quite to. They don't think they're quite to the the Steve Rogers even.
They're not the pure uncut. They're like the watered down super soldiers.
Yeah, they're like the Great Value super soldiers. And so
generic.
But I mean, I feel, and even kind of Bucky is like got a leg on him.
Yeah.
But they've got some sort of serum or some sort of way to bring these people up to the Sam's Choice,
right? But not them. Let's be honest. Now that it's the power broker. They made it clear that the power broker was the one that was in the comic books he was a guy that would give people powers. Like that was kind of his deal. So it makes sense in this kind of a universe that he's more of like black market, super meta power, serum-y, kind of dealer. If you will, and they obviously got away from him, and he's pissed about it, and he looks at them as kind of product. So we'll see how that plays out.
But okay, so that power broker. Okay, I'm thinking it's Hydra.
I mean, there could be ties. Sure, I could see it.
I mean, that's my kind of. That they have some sort of real ties to Hydra, more than just they kind of have the same ideas. I think there's more to it than that. That is the radar theory to this. That there is some sort of Hydra involvement with this.
I mean, I for sure see that as a possibility. Looking at the chats here, I see you guys. Dakota, Steve Rogers was Captain America even before the serum. Dude never give up like a true hero. Yeah,
Which
man.
is why he got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why-
What was the quote? It wasn't because he was a good soldier, it was because he was a good man.
Yes.
And that was the difference. And people always say, well, why did Cap give the shield to Sam instead of giving it to his best friend Bucky? And we know that Bucky was a good soldier, but Sam was a good man. You know what I mean? Bucky was still torn up inside about what he's done, so he's not in the mental headspace to be the good man that shield needs. And so so Captain America saw that in Sam, and that's why he gave him the shield. And now we see the repercussions of it. But Nick, I see you out there talking about the game. Yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about the game. I saw your comment about white phosphorus and the use of it. I can tell you off the top of my head, I saw an article where they talked about that there will not be any white phosphorus use in the game, but that's something I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask the guy and see kind of what's the story behind that. And it's a tricky thing. This game, they had to know this game was going to be surrounded with controversy. I mean, before they even got to work on it, they had to know that. So I have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm curious what you guys think about it as well. But let's hear the interview. Let's hear them out. Let's see what they have to say. It upsets me when people are so quick to want to shut something down before they've even seen it, before they've even given it a chance. Look, Cyberpunk, just off the top of my head, Cyberpunk, amazing game, horribly done. I mean, just so many bugs, shouldn't have been released, but like you had to have played it to go like, oh wow, this is so broken. It was a good game, it was a good idea, there's good stuff in it, but it was so broken. Imagine like you see the trailer and you're like, cancel that game, it's gonna be a piece of crap. And it's like, man, you give it a second, let it breathe, let it see it before let's and yeah, I hear you, Nick. Unfortunately, man, war is a messy thing. Myself and Radar both been there. We know firsthand. I think
Nick said he was there.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and maybe like, dude, if you've got some cool, we'll ask him those questions you sent
us,
but you can pop in some more questions too. Like, absolutely. I mean, and I've got a couple buddies that were there. I kind of want to.
Yeah.
I kind of told them that we were doing this, but I didn't realize we were doing it tonight. That's my bad. Pay attention.
Way to stay on the schedule.
But I did get a chance to I messaged both of them that they should check it out. And because like I said, and so I think it's kind of interesting, especially like I think Nick has some cool like outset being that he was there.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the second battle of Fallujah, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. No, it was November of 2004 is when it kind of kicked off. And here's the thing. Let's be real. This isn't a documentary. Like the idea, and I read the guy even talk about it. He said the idea is we want to get as close to like a playable documentary as possible, right? Retell some of the stories. This isn't a documentary. This isn't meant to capture every single day, every story, everything that happened, all the good, all the bad. It's meant to, they worked with, I think, something like 120 Marines and soldiers, Iraqi civilians. And the idea was to, give a snapshot into what it was like. This is a medium that it's never had that, you see TV, you see movies, listen to podcasts, all these different mediums that can tackle these subjects. Video games, I can't think of one that like tried to really capture, something true to life. You look at like, what was one of the original Call of Duties that did like storming the beaches at Normandy, right? Imagine, if you will, that was released today and they're like, oh, this is a game to you, all the people that lost their lives on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. It's just a level that you can replay and restart and respawn, like those men, women, and children and blah blah blah. Like, yes, this is a sensitive topic. It is a video game. It is absolutely meant for entertainment purposes. But why can't a game that's meant for entertainment also educate and give people a small glimpse of what it was like? How many times, Radar, have you had that conversation with someone who's never been over there, never did the things we did, and you can't really explain how it was, and you can't logically do it,
Right.
and they're gonna say, "Oh, well, what about Black Hawk Down? Was that how it's like?" And it's like, I mean, kinda, sorta, a little, but that's a very different thing, and very different
dude,
people.
I lie. I just lie, and I just let them play it out. Be like, yep, that's exactly.
Yep,
It.
like Lone Survivor, just like that. That's how
Yep.
American Sniper, exactly like that. But like,
with way more cigarette smoking and masturbation.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of. But I mean, like I don't know, and this is part of it. This is me as a dude who has been there and done all of it. I get sick of trying to explain it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Right.
I mean, like, just because you can't, and there's so much more reality to it, and I hope that's something that they touch on tonight. That, and I think everybody who's been there can kind of get what I'm talking about too. That you can't explain all of it. Some of it's just sensations and feelings, and concussions. You can't explain how a concussion feels to somebody, or you know what I mean? How like I hit an IED, right? We hit an EFP. So you can't explain to somebody like the smell of that. You know what I mean? Or like the heat and how it hits you and like all of that. Like you can't explain to somebody. And I don't, it kind of cheapens it too when to try.
Right.
Because you have to use words that like aren't as intense as that experience. And you could probably say the same thing. Like that like Nick said, his engineers ran into a house brick with a 500-pound IED. Like, we understand that, but like if my kids are playing that in a video game, like how do you like?
Yeah,
you can't explain that to them. Like 100%. Even when they're playing. We were talking about Call of Duty World War II. Like they had that a couple years ago, and they actually stormed the beaches and shit. And my nephew, I was like, "Oh, I don't understand how this works." I'm like, "I can't explain it to you, dude. Like, it's just that's how it works." Like, they were pretty accurate on some of their portrayals of fire rates of weapons and things like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I just don't. But like with this, I don't know. Like, I wasn't in Fallujah. I'm not going to bullshit say I was like that. I went to Afghanistan first, and then I went. By the time I was in Iraq, I was wearing a different uniform then, so I never even like set foot in Fallujah. I don't know anything about it other than the story my buddies have told me from it. But I can't imagine it's any different than some of the fighting that I went through, and I'm sure you went through at different times. And so it's kind of like, I'm not going to say, from directly that experience of Fallujah, but I can't imagine it's a whole lot different. The sights and smells and all of the things that you have that happen in that. But and then again too, if you make it too fucking realistic, you're gonna give kids like you're literally gonna fuck kids up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I know my kids, if they see a fucking shoot 'em up video game, they're gonna want to play it.
Well, right. What I mean? There's a line, and this is something I want to ask them of where do you draw the line of too realistic, and for the sake of, educating and entertaining, because, okay, you want to go super realistic, cool. You load up the game, you play, the first time you die, game's over. You never get to play again, right? You died. That's the end of it. The game self-destructs. Like, there you go, super realistic. You don't get a second life. Like, okay, we can't go that far. You want to go super realistic? Cool. You have to stand. Your character has to stand on gate guard for 13 hours.
Right.
And you have to hold X to not pee yourself.
You have to come up with a cool Chuck Norris fucking joke to write in the porta shitter.
Yes. You have to.
You should have that as part of the game, though. You got to like fucking jack off in a porta shitter.
Yeah, you have to jack off in 120-degree heat in a porta shitter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's there's a level of realism that you can't go to.
I mean. But okay, but do you even try to attain that? Like if I can't, I like like someone who was that in the comments who said that.
Scott, that was perfect. I love it. That was good. That was good. He said they should make it so realistic. After you beat a mission, some high ranking character gets a medal, and he wasn't even there.
Right.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Go big Sark.
We used to get the Arcoms, Army Commendation medals, like the tinfoil of medals. And everybody else gets the silver stars and bronze stars and shit. Yeah.
The medic who pulled like 3 fucking dudes from a burning Humvee gets a fucking Arcom with a V on it.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. No. you get back from your deployment. You find out you've been gone for 6 months, but your wife's 3 months pregnant. And you're like, trying to explain that one. Your character's trying to. Is it +10 to intelligence? You're like, something math don't work. But yeah, no. So,
but I mean, like we just saw, and who said that? I went back. Christopher said, I'm always trying to explain to people that haven't done this, it's a waste of time. So I've just stopped socializing. Like I get it, dude. Yeah. So like, but I mean, like, there's got to be a fine line there between like making it interesting and staying true to character, staying true to form.
Yeah.
And just kind of being like, hey, this is dramatic recreation. It's recreation. It's a game.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't know. You got to have some poetic license in there. You do, I think. Because like, and then kind of too, like, when someone tells you a story about that, right? Mm-hmm. That's their story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and everyone's story's different. Even like people.
You put 2 people. Well, no, you put 2 people in the same. I've had talks with guys that we were in the same firefight, maybe 10 feet apart, but you talk about it, and it's like, wow, your point of view of what happened is very different from mine. So let alone somebody who's in a different squad, a different team, a different company, a different platoon, a different brigade, different town, different country. Like, experiences will vary. You could have been there during the worst time. Look, I was there in 2003 to 2004, and we were all the way northern Iraq, all the way down to just above Baghdad, and back and forth, and most of our time in Kirkuk and places like that. There'd be weeks without anything really happening, and it's just doing details and shit like that. And you know what I mean? And you go to, and I do Afghanistan in 2005, and again, there'd be weeks of just convoys, weeks of just patrols, and little skirmishes here and there. It's not Call of Duty. Not every mission you go on is this big explosion filled Michael Bay porn to stop the nuke from going off. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen that way. You know what I say? They should release the special edition. I'm gonna pitch this to the guy today. Release the special edition with settings that you can turn on for ultra realism, and before every mission you have to sit through a 6-hour PowerPoint slide, and before every mission, and then after every mission you have to write a report after the mission. There you go, hyper realism mode, and we'll see how many people hit that early retirement.
Jeez,
for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about 6 Days in Fallujah later tonight, in about 30-ish minutes. We're going to have the CEO and founder of Victura Games, who is creating 6 Days. They're the team behind 6 Days in Fallujah. And we'll also have Read. Oh, man, I got to ask him how to say this. Omohundro. Omohundro? Yeah, close enough. Sure. And he is a USMC veteran who helped in bringing the story, the game to life. They really did. They interviewed all these guys and really tried to capture their stories. The game is intercut with some like documentary style footage of these guys telling their stories. And you basically, as far as I understand, we're going to get clarification tonight, but what I understand from what I've seen is that they're basically going to tell you a story and you're going to play through it. You know what I mean? Which is incredible. And one of the things I'm most excited, and this is as a gamer, the idea of this game having what's called procedurally generated architecture. And it means that every time you play through, it's different. Every room, every door, every street, every alley, every little village section of the map is procedurally generated. It's created new every time it loads up. So they have, thousands and thousands of repository of all these different things in it. It's like a Lego set, and it recreates it on the fly every time. So you can't, it's not like Call of Duty where you go, okay, I go 10 feet up, the enemy spawns on the right, he comes from the left, then this guy's going to spawn behind me, I turn around, I one-shot him. Like, you can't do that because every time you walk through a door, it's completely different. So I love that. I'm excited for that. I think, that should, modern combat games should have things like that where you don't know what to expect. I love playing Warzone. I do. But I know my spot. I know where my boxes are. I know where my ammo's at. I know the things that I like to know. Where's the towers? Where's the best, sniping positions? I know all these things because I've played repetitiously over and over and over. Well, imagine, if you will, playing Call of Duty, but every time you load that map in, it's completely different, right? You're everyone's on equal footing because nobody knows what to expect. And I love that idea.
Yeah, but think in real life though, like I knew my spot.
Well,
right outside my chew with a fucking pack of smokes, dude. I knew where the water was at. I knew where the shitter was at. I knew where my ammo was. No, but I'm just okay. No, but that's cool. I'm actually really excited about this game.
Yep.
And how many times have I said things like, "Oh, it's gonna make it good, make it not suck."
I don't think I've ever heard you say the words "I'm excited for." I don't think I've ever heard those 3 words come out together from you.
Yeah.
So this is a big day. This is a big day. Very big day. Guys, first time. 1 year plus in the making. First time I've ever heard Radar say "I'm excited for" that. I don't think it was followed by Sturgis. Is that
Yeah, Sturgis. I was excited for Sturgis.
Yeah, that's about it. That's the only time I think I've ever heard you say "I'm excited for." But all right.
Excited for summer.
We've talked about it. We're gonna talk an hour of this game, and I'm so excited for that. Lastly, I will mention, man, if you guys aren't watching it, God, why not? First 3 episodes of Invincible are out on Amazon Prime.
I haven't watched it.
It's good. It's very good. It is animated, but I'll sell it to you right now. We talked about this weeks ago, but it's Robert Kirkman who wrote The Walking Dead, right? What he did, right? Now zombies are kind of like, we're over it. But what he did for The Walking Dead and what he did for the zombie genre, he applied that to the superhero genre and created Invincible. And it is good. It is very, very, very good. Now, obviously, like everything, come on, it doesn't do justice to the source material because how could you? It's, right. It is what it is. But for what it is, I try to judge things for what they are, not for what they're comparing themselves to. And for what it is really good. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It is, the first 3 episodes are out. New episodes come out every Friday, just like Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. But it's a really good series. Amazing voice talent, and it's adapting a great series. Great series. So super, 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 super recommend you guys check out, you too, Radar, Invincible on Amazon Prime. Very good. Daniel says Robert Kirkman is one hell of a smartass. Went to one of his panels at Comic-Con. Yeah, man, he's he's an interesting person. I've met him a few times, and he's an interesting person to be around if you talk to him. Yeah. And Daniel, don't be putting out news, man. That's my thing. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. You're dropping in headlines, man. I appreciate you, though. I appreciate that. Hey, people enjoying it, then. That's what it's for. William, I'm not going to repeat the comment, but yes, very much so. Yes. Yep. That's yes, exactly. All right. Couple quick headlines before we get to the interview later today. Don't need to apologize, man. I'm busting your balls, but hey, that's what we do here. That's what we do. Here. I'll cover the first headline since our boy Daniel out there, he wanted to spoil it. Rick and Morty is coming back. New season, June 20th. And for you guys, I've got the reveal, or the, what would you call it? The announcement trailer? Let's call it announcement trailer. But here, check this out.
Wait, shh. It's too quiet.
You skipped quiet.
I didn't skip. It's obviously quiet if it's too quiet.
Yeah, but you're supposed to say...
You know what, Summer? Now it's not quiet enough. Morty, come here. I need you for some bullshit.
Police, a strange, horny ocean man is on my lawn.
What are they mad at you for anyway? Well, we're talking about me. It could be anything. Grab those chains. It's time we raise a little hell. Good job, we're still outside. Help! What? Were we blades in that one? Tight.
Nick, Beth, you love me after all.
I love her. She loves you. Those credits don't transfer.
We're touching Rick's stuff.
Summer, he said no. Nuh-uh. I said don't touch my...
Where are we ziplining through futuristic metallic tunnels to?
Hunt me, somebody hunt me. Don't hunt them to completion.
Well, I vote. No voting, no debate. It's not a democracy. It's a Rick public. You're in or you're out. Obviously, I'm in. I never said I wasn't in.
Me neither.
Oh, why is this happening to me?
For the future!
Hey, Grandpa, what do I do? We can work this out. Just stop trying to kill each other.
New Rick and Morty starting Sunday, June 20th at 11 p.m.
Jerry, bucket list?
I'd like to attend a game at every major league ballpark.
Nope.
On Adult Swim. And stream seasons 1 through 4 on HBO Max now.
Oh yeah, my bad. I should probably take us off mute. Oops.
Oh shit! Yay!
Thanks. Good call, guys. Good call. Wait, see, I was testing y'all. I was seeing if you're paying attention. Gold stars. You guys are paying attention. Yes, Mike. I get it. But yes, Rick and Morty's coming back, and not soon enough. But June 20th, we'll get season 5, 11 p.m. Eastern. So very excited for that. What else we got in TV news? So this won't affect everybody, but I'm excited about it. So if you have Xfinity, right, the set-top boxes, and you get the remote, and you say the things like, man, show me, I don't know, Grey's Anatomy, whatever it is, it just pops up on your TV. The one thing that you haven't been able to do is Disney Plus. Like, so you could say Hulu, you could say Netflix, and boom, you're connected to your accounts. You haven't been able to say Disney Plus or ESPN for that matter, which is owned by the same company. Finally, if you have an Xfinity set-top box, they are rolling out sometime very soon. They literally said in the next few days, they're going to be rolling out the ability for you to just say Disney Plus into your remote, and you'll be able to, watch Disney Plus on your TV right through your Xfinity home box. And very soon after that, they said ESPN Plus as well. So I know you're a cord cutter, right? Isn't that right?
I am a cord cutter.
Yeah,
I am.
So,
but you know what though? I say that, but we do have we have DirecTV kind of, because we have AT&T, so it's like free or something. I don't know. We literally watch the Super Bowl on it. That's it.
Yeah.
We watch Super Bowl, some live football. That's it. That's the only reason we have it, and it's gay.
I just noticed my monitor was crooked. I'm like, that's gonna annoy the hell out of me. So yeah. Mike Larson says another good show is Paradise PD on Netflix. Is that the one that's, I think, isn't that like a cops spoof, right? Kind of like a Reno 911. I think that's what that is. It's like a knockoff, or I should say knockoff, a parody of cop shows or 911 shows, something like that. But all right, cool. Recommendation from Mike out there, Paradise PD on Netflix. Yeah, he says yeah. Nick, you don't own a TV. Hey, I appreciate you anyway. It's all right.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame him.
Hey, we live in a glorious time where you can literally not own almost anything, but if you've got a phone, you get everything streamed right to your face. just all the things right to the face. Nelson says 000 on Amazon is pretty good too. All right, well shit. Okay, we're getting some good recommendations, man. I'm gonna start writing this stuff down. 000 on Amazon is pretty good. But check that out. Also, you know what? Before I totally forgot to do this at the top of the hour. Before I go any further, I want to thank you guys. I want to take a second to thank you guys. For a lot of you, might be first time you're hearing this, but last year we found out we were nominated for a podcast award in entertainment, and this just came in. I'm gonna see if I can get that. There you go. 2020 Podcast Awards nominee in entertainment, Pop Culture Warrior. So that has everything to do with the fans of the show, because it was definitely a popularity contest. The fact we got nominated, and someone had commented earlier that they were like, well, it's kind of like a participation trophy, and I'm like, sure, kind of, but you have to understand, like, over 1,000 shows are written in, and only 10 are officially nominated, and then one wins. We don't know who came in second. We didn't win, but it was in our very first year as a podcast. We were literally under 1 year when we got nominated, which was huge. So to you guys, this is for you guys. That was awesome. Thank you so much for I keep it right here on my desk, right here, so I can always see that. Keep up the work and keep what we're doing. You guys are awesome. So I just wanted to take a second, get real for us, just a second, and say thank you guys, because of you we got nominated, and we're gonna keep doing awesome stuff. So I'm super excited. Who knows? Maybe next year we win. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's not too far from it, man.
No, not at all.
I think we did awesome. I'm happy with it. I'm happy for the recognition. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, man, worst case Ontario, we don't. I mean, it's cool that people like appreciate what we do, and and we try. I mean, and go back to this too. We're all volunteers here.
Yeah.
Like, we don't make any money.
Nobody gets paid here.
We just do this for you guys. So
yeah.
To get a little bit back is really cool. So thanks for everyone who
I
voted.
See you, Scott. I see you, Nick. Appreciate it, guys. We're gonna keep it up, and we're hitting our stride. We're finally making some headway. We're getting some killer interviews, guys. If you haven't seen our back catalog, there's some outstanding interviews. Off the top of my head, we had Clark Gregg, Marvel's Avengers Agent Coulson. We had him for a full hour talking to the guy. Director of The Outpost, Rod Lurie. Phenomenal dude. Amazing story. Amazing conversation. Comedian, legendary comedian, Louis Anderson. How fucking phenomenal and funny was that guy? We had such a blast talking to him.
So fun.
I mean, so awesome. Ralph Garman from the Kevin Smith's podcast, the Hollywood Babylon, Matt Eisman, the voice of American Ninja Warrior. Like, I even did that for him. That was so embarrassing. I did the voice, and it was so cringeworthy. So he was like, good job, man. Good job. We've had some absolutely phenomenal guests. We have some lined up. We never like to talk about it until it's happening and until it's locked in. But we have some surprises in store for the future. There's some things happening in the background. I'm very excited. Lots of cool stuff. And every day I'm reaching out to every connection I have to to bring you guys more fun interviews. You know, we've done actors, we've done directors, we've done writers, we've done comedians, and today will be our first video game guest. So I'm super excited for that, and we'll keep that ball rolling.
I'm actually surprised it's taken us this long to get a video game guest, if I'm honest.
I mean, it's kind of hard because they don't really, you know, game developers and coders, and they don't really do interviews. So, you know, it's usually they're only going to do it when it's time to promote something. So, like, especially in this time of COVID, remember, first of all, let me just say, we created this show. First episode was February of 2020. Do you remember what happened in March of 2020?
Oh, yeah, there was a thing.
There was a thing that happened. Oh, yeah. The world shut down. How the hell have we done a year of a pop culture show when everything's been canceled? It is a miracle. It is. Right. What's the miracle with the breaking of the bread and the fish and lasting?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the hockey team.
The Miracle on Ice. Yes, we're very much like the Miracle on Ice. I just started thinking about like the Miracle at the Meadowlands. We're like that punt that got returned for a touchdown to win the game. No. I meant like the actual biblical miracle where he had like broke the fish and broke the bread and fed like 1,000 people with like 3 loaves of bread or something like that. I'm not the Bible verse guy, but something, you get what I'm saying.
I not either, but I am a hockey fan. So
look at that. Nick says it was either watch our show or spend time with the family. The show won. Yeah! Woohoo!
You know what? Hey, same thing though. My family's upstairs, like, I don't know, like celebrate my daughter's birthday or something.
Yeah, like who cares? Yeah, they'll have another one. There'll always be another birthday.
Yeah,
they're fine. They're fine. These young ones, they don't even remember the young birthdays. But anyway, so seriously.
Yeah, right, Nick. Too bad Harambe isn't here to see it. That's right, buddy.
No, seriously, from the bottom of our heart, thank you guys for being such an awesome audience. Thank you guys for, you know, tuning in and watching. It's always fun. Like Radar said, we don't get paid to do this. It is purely for our own amusement and because we love.
So is torture. Okay, did you see what Nelson said? He's a school teacher and he's home on quarantine. His wife got the Rona and they didn't want to infect the little booger eaters at school.
Well, hey,
that's probably where they got it, dude. Like,
thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I got drunk and took my pickup over there. Yeah. The fuck out.
Yeah, and I know I have friends that would say that CQ used the air, was it the hot air in his head to you know, to like just, you know, use the hot air. I don't know. So big head, something to do with that, you know, amusement, abusement, whatever. I appreciate that, Nick. Man, you guys are awesome. You're the best. Okay.
But my real job pays me, Nelson. I'm just saying.
Right.
My real job cuts me a check.
Work? What work? What work? Who is work?
But you know what? This is like, I don't know. I get up in the morning and I'm like, man, I don't know if I really want to go to work today.
Right.
And that's every day. You know, but I get up and I go do my job and I do what I got to do and I pay for my bills, and this is like my night of like my solace. You know what I mean? I just kind of I look forward to my Tuesday nights for my couple hours in the bunker. And I mean, honestly, like when I think about it, like I put a lot of money into this. Like I've got a whole room dedicated to this. I don't even know how many $1,000 of computers sitting in front of me and a mixer, bullshit. You know what I mean? Like when you think about it, like I'm sure, like even if we started getting paid, it'd take a while to recoup it.
Right? Yeah, I could probably let's be honest. I could probably get paid to do this, and it would take me a couple months easily. I mean, depending on how much I'm making, but typical, like we're talking like we get paid minimum wage. Let's say minimum wage. We get paid. It would take me a year or two before I could even
pay for all of it.
Even put a dent. Probably. Yeah, Daniel, man, Medal of Honor was a great game. Medal of Honor was a great game.
You know what? And some of those, and like, I'll go back to Call of Duty World War II, the last one that came out, the last Call of Duty World War II one. They had a couple,
Yeah.
the first ones. Were
World War I was the last one they did.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Stuff. But anyway, like they actually like Point du Hoc was on there, and there's some actual like real. They did some research in that, man.
Sure.
They did a pretty good job of some of the stuff he's done. That's actually, he's they did some pretty good work on that. I was happy at that. And I wonder too, like how many of these video games actually do have real military consultants when it comes to that.
Well, I mean, that's like, and again, more interviews we've done that you can go back to the back catalog and check it out. We've had military liaisons, right? Movie liaisons, guys who did all the military tactical stuff for the movies. We've had stunt choreographers. Those guys, like the amount of effort in some of the movies, right? Because some movies are just garbage, but some of the bigger movies that really try to have the right tactics, that really try to have the right lingo, that really try to have the right weaponry and outfits and uniforms and things. It's about time that some games put that effort in. And I think we're seeing that more and more. Modern Warfare and all these other games, they've more or less tried to make the weapons more, kind of realistic, and but it's less, to me, something like Call of Duty is less military and more civilian pretending to be military, right? Because you got all the optics, it's like you got all the optics and the scopes and the handlebars and the lasers and flaming bullets, and your dude's got a red mohawk and leather chaps and like running bare ass.
I don't know. I've seen some guard units.
It's like, okay, we're getting a little further and further from the truth here, but that's.
But I mean, just some of like the tactics, but I mean, like, I don't know, dude. Like, some of that's just really not even like applicable to video games, though. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have like a strategy kind of when it comes to something like Warzone, or basically any Call of Duty game, or especially when you look at games like Fortnite or anything like that. You just you hop in, you go. Like, so yeah, I mean, I watch the kids play Fortnite and they get like fucking laser guns and all kinds of bullshit and whatever, and they just go and fucking wreck everybody and build walls and shit. Like, any fucking TTPs when it comes to that, you know what I mean? Just bounce, And same with like, the Call of Duty games, you just fucking, I don't know, left, right, or center. Just fucking gun, baby. Camp in the corner, see if I don't pop around with an SMG. What's up?
Scott, I see your comment too. He says, honestly, if we asked Keanu Reeves to be a guest, he would probably be down to come on and talk about his training for John Wick. Listen, I would love to have a chat with Keanu Reeves. Absolutely. Any day of the week, I don't care. You're not going to get to sit down with Keanu Reeves. I'm sorry. Like, the dude's awesome. The dude is legit awesome.
I don't care. Keanu Reeves can have my house.
But he rarely does publicity, period. Let alone some rinky-dink. Nobody. Listen to me. I'm going to put our business out there. I tried to get the AT&T girl for Radar. Okay?
And because she, like, actually needs an outlet to... She's been having, like, a lot of sexual harassment problems. We're like, hey, come talk to us. We'll fucking we'll give you an hour to, like, address how you hate us.
Yeah.
Said, no.
You know what I mean? So we had a little bit of a back and forth, and they were curious, and they did their due diligence, but they came back with a polite, her schedule is very busy right now, so we politely declined the opportunity. I'm like, hey, all right, I guess we're not big enough for the AT&T girl. We're not high profile enough. So we're only podcast award nominees. We're not podcast award winners.
We're good enough for Louis Anderson, so
right?
I'm pretty sure
Clark Gregg,
Louis Anderson, in way more movies than AT&T girl. What's up?
Agent Coulson. Everybody knows Agent Coulson.
Yeah, everyone knows Agent Coulson. He was here. But Keanu can have my bubble. No, we'll make another bubble. We can't have my bubble.
That's Radar's bubble. That's Radar's radar.
Look, it says in the bottom, Radar. Just say Keanu.
That's a quick typo. I could fix that. I'd squeeze you right out of that bubble.
Actually, if Keanu was here, he could have the big screen.
Yeah, you're right. I'll be in another bubble next to Radar's bubble.
I'll just be in the back, like sucking my thumb or some shit. But I mean, but in all fairness, like, yeah, it is their loss, D-Max. Like, yeah, those people just, I don't know, to hell with them. No, I'm going to say that. Please go on our show. But anyway.
please go on our show. Please, God, please.
Yeah, have we said anything to Chuck Norris?
I haven't tried Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
I'm gonna reach out to Chuck Norris, man. Anybody, listen, if anybody out there, if you guys have a cousin who's a cousin of a friend of the barber who dog walks somebody's famous's dog or some, so let them know. Reach out, man. I deputize all of you watching. Reach out. Start a campaign. PCW needs Keanu or any whoever it is.
Yeah, Gary Sinise. You've reached out to Gary Sinise, haven't you?
Well, we're yes. We'll just say yes. Okay. Yes, but there, I've reached out to quite a few and some high, bigger, well known and some lesser known, and we're working on some things. But here's the thing: I don't judge a person like, oh well, this person's A-lister and this person's B-lister. Like, I just love getting to talk to these people and understanding where they came from, what they do, how they got their break, and the ins and outs, what's going on, and bringing that to you guys for you guys to watch. So that's all that matters.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Now that the world is getting back to a sense of normalcy, we'll say.
Right. I'm hoping that it gets a little easier.
Well, or maybe it's going to be a little bit harder because now all these people that have kind of been hiding out. Because let's be honest, a lot of people we reach out to are celebrities in whatever, directors or actors or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going to be working, hopefully.
Yeah. That's the idea. That's the idea.
And if they can spare an hour for us, great. If they can't, that's cool too. Like, I want to see their content, kind of. You know what I mean? But if it'd be great. Like, I don't know, but yeah. And here's the other thing too, like if there's people you're like, hey, Matt Best, I don't know if he'd even fucking talk to us.
Yeah.
I make fun of his coffee.
The vet bro thing is, look, hey, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't judge anybody what they do, but the vet bro kind of stuff is
in all fairness, dude, rich. Like, maybe we should talk about how do we monetize this fucking podcast.
Yeah. I mean, they don't need our publicity.
No shit, huh? You got cash, man. You don't need us.
They got that coffee money.
They got that coffee money.
All right, guys. So let's.
I would like to have some people on, and if there's people that you want to see come on, message us.
Yeah. Let us know.
We'll try to get hold of them. We'll see. Q will try to get hold of them. Me. I'm like, hey, it's Radar. They're like, who the fuck are you? Like,
yeah. If there's people that you want to see, and God, please be realistic, because I'm not gonna lie. I have a connection with Samuel Jackson, and I tried that, and no, and then I tried. I had one that tried. What's his name? Oh God, Denzel Washington. His people are very nice. They gave me the nicest. No, they gave me the nicest "go fuck yourself" I've ever received.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Like, it was almost like, wow, why are you even reaching out to us? Nobody reaches out to us. He doesn't do interviews, and I was just like, well, I thought I'd try.
Right.
So
and Samuel Jackson was like, no.
I got a really funny Samuel L. Jackson story about the time me and him met, and some I don't want to call it shenanigans happened. We'll get to that story one day. But real quick, guys, we're gonna go on a short break.
Yes.
When we come back, we're gonna have an awesome interview. Please don't go anywhere. We're gonna be talking all about 6 Days in Fallujah. For those that don't know, 6 Days in Fallujah is a first-person tactical military shooter that recreates true stories of Marines, soldiers, and Iraqi civilians who fought Al-Qaeda during the toughest urban battle since 1968. Players lead a fire team through real-life encounters enabled by unique technology that simulates the uncertainty and tactics of urban combat. We're going to have Peter Tamte, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, of Victura, and Read Omohundro. So, guys.
They're going to listen to this and be like, these guys are retarded.
Yeah, we're so dumb. We are the
And I
dumbest.
can't even say it any better, so hopefully they can.
I'm gonna get an actual pronunciation on that, so I'm less of an ass.
Yes, OJ.
Oh God. Okay, and we're gonna go to break now, guys. It's been real. Don't go anywhere. Instead of playing music during the break, I'm actually going to play the advertisements for the game just to get you guys riled up to talk about the game and hear more about the game. So we'll be back after a short break, and enjoy this commercial for our upcoming segment. Shots.
Saddam had been captured. The Iraqi army scattered. Lawlessness and fear gave Az-Zarqawi his moment, and he was prepared. They seized Fallujah, and the city was the first to suffer under their black banner.
These terrorists were armed to the teeth. No one will fight against them.
It had to be stopped, or the country will turn over to Al-Qaeda.
It was a fortress. It was a well-prepared city, buttressed, waiting for us to come.
The only way you can clear a city is you have to search every house, you have to search every room, and you have to root out every insurgent.
We sustained hundreds and hundreds of casualties. A third of my battalion was killed or wounded.
It was the bunkers they would build inside houses. And you would go in the house, it'd be all quiet. And then they would open up on you or shoot you through a hole in the wall.
If they didn't hit you right away with a machine gun, they would draw you all the way back to the back of the house where there's really nowhere to escape.
There's such a fear, so you're standing in front of the door. You kick down that door, and there's a sense of relief. You only feel it if you survive.
We can tell you our stories. We can show you our scars. But some moments must be experienced.
I think we've done a really good job of appreciating service members. I think we've done a very poor job of telling the actual story of what happened.
My name is Jason Kyle. I was a sergeant with Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. On November 9th, 2004, I entered the city with 12 Marines plus myself. And by November 13th, I was down to 4 Marines and myself.
6 Days in Fallujah recreates stories from the battle based on eyewitness accounts.
One squad has already walked down this alley, so we're just like walking down pretty confidently. And like these guys just open up.
Got you. Alley looks clear. Go right. On it. Watch out. Suppressing fire.
That was the go command. One tap issues orders to your team based on what you're pointing at. Pin enemies in place with suppressive fire while you flank. order your team to stack on a door.
Breach it! Open the door! On it!
The Go command makes it as easy to direct your team as it is to fire your weapon.
Go, go, go!
The person who goes in first is never wrong. They have the most to fear.
And as soon as I walk in, I see a machine gun right in front of my face, maybe 10 feet, 15 feet from me.
Every time we would go into one of those buildings, you never know what to expect.
You don't know the layout of the house until you get in there. And then you still don't know it until you go all the way through it.
Room clearing, house clearing, it's different every single time.
Marines and soldiers never knew what was waiting for them behind the next door. And if you want a realistic experience, neither can you. 6 Days in Fallujah reshapes the battlefield every time you play. Each room, each building, even the entire neighborhood is generated procedurally. Every map is a new map. So just like actual combat, you'll never know what to expect.
You hear that? Up there! Watch that door! Yep! Covered. Contact! We got contact! Get my back! Go, 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 go! Down there! Look out!
My son, he had his first birthday while we were in Fallujah. I wanted to take a picture. So I wrote "Happy Birthday, JJ" on a piece of cardboard and I held it up. That was the most difficult day I had there. It dawned on me, it's like, I can't die on my kid's birthday. And that's all I thought about all day long, was dying on my kid's birthday.
Let's do this! Go here. You clear? On me! Let's do this. I got this one. Clear. Room's clear! Good here. Come with me. Good. Keep a lookout. Right. What's that? On our left! Who's there? Step out! Salim, Nefsik!
So just think, you know, you have this Marine, you're amped up, you know, you got all this adrenaline going through, you kick that door down and it's like family of four. And I'm talking to the dad, I'm like, dude, like, why are you still here? And he's like,
عن طريق التلفزيون طلع بوقتها هذا اياد علاوي كان رئيس الوزراء قال ابو مصعب الزرقاوي موجود في الفلوجة وراح احنا نهجم وناخذه.
فلذلك الفلوجة نقدر نقول من بداية العمليات طلعوا.
وعائلتي وعائلة ابويا الله يرحمه طلعت. فابويا بقى راد يبقى قال ما اطلع.
تعرف اهل الفلوجة القدماء يعني هاي بالنسبة لهم عار بانه يطلع محتل جاي ويطلع من
قال ما اطلع هذا ابقى. قال اموت هنا يابا اطلع قال ما قلت له لعد اني وين.
Call the show now at 415-889-8367. The voice of U.S. Army WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is hour 2 of Pop Culture Warrior. We're live everywhere that you are. I am so beyond excited to talk. And sorry, I got radars. This is the thing about doing a live show, man. Sometimes these little blips show up out of the blue. So let me take care of that. Radar turned off his camera. Love you, Radar. Anyway, we are super excited to have our guest today. We're going to be talking about 6 Days in Fallujah, a game that, I first heard about years ago. I've been excited before it went through its process, and now that it's back, I'm even more excited. So today we're going to be talking to 2 wonderful people. So the first is going to be Peter Tamte, is the CEO of Victura. He's been around the block. I have his bio here. I can't even read through it all because there's so much. But he was, amongst his many things, executive vice president of Bungie when it launched the Halo franchise. How cool is that? Reported to Steve Jobs as Apple's senior director of consumer marketing during the late 90s. Super cool. We also have joining us Captain Read Omohundro, who was a company commander during the second battle for Fallujah, leading Bravo 1-8 down the center of the city from north to south. We had, he was a kind of a liaison helping the development team behind the games. So guys, everybody, please welcome both Peter and Reed to the show. Guys, welcome. I'm super excited to guys have you. Man, I apologies. I'm so excited. So if I seem a little chaotically energetic, it's because I'm super excited about this. This is a game that, I had first heard about years ago that it had been in development. I'm sure we can talk about it, but it was with Atomic Games at the time. And, once it kind of got out there and it was put out into the ether, there was an immediate backlash. And it was hard, and I understand, right? As a veteran, I served in Iraq in 2003 and 4, Afghanistan in 2005. It was, and I think it was 2009, I believe, was when the game was first talked about. That there was this backlash of people saying, "Oh, it's too soon," and it's you're trivializing the lives and everything. And we're gonna I want to dive into all that, but first and foremost, right? We're here to promote a game, so. Let me ask, what systems will it be available for, and do we have a release date yet?
We're targeting at the end of this year. The goal is for the game to ship on PC as well as the current and next generation consoles. The current generation Microsoft and Sony consoles. No plans for the Nintendo platforms right now.
Gotcha. Okay, so current next gen, awesome. PC, kind of a gimme, right? Everybody loves PC. I've been doing my due diligence. I've seen the trailers. During the break, the audience got to see the announcement trailer as well as the gameplay trailer. There obviously there's not a lot of information on the game yet. Which again, it bugs me when people are so quick to judgments when there's not even that much information yet. But from what we've seen, it's very clear there'll be a single player element, right? There's a story mode, if you will. Is there any kind of multiplayer or co-op we're talking about yet?
Yeah, that's right. So all of our multiplayer is cooperative multiplayer. I think at some point down the road, we'll probably want to introduce a number of the mechanics into a competitive scenario, but we don't want to recreate real life scenarios through competitive multiplayer. Frankly, we're hearing from a lot of people who really want to experience a cooperative multiplayer game right now, one that is tactically authentic.
Fantastic. Oh my God, there's so much. There's actually I don't know if you're aware of it, Peter or Reed. There's this great YouTube video called the most controversial unreleased game investigating 6 Days in Fallujah. I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube video. It's got like 2.2 million views or whatnot. But I mean, they did a really good, I feel, balanced kind of like what happened and kind of understanding the mechanics and the backlash. You know, let me ask both of you, Peter first and then Reed. When the original work on the game was happening and it got announced and, you know, this backlash came out, and I mean, were you hoping to be able to kind of like, because you had to know it was coming. Sorry, I'm going to get to a question at some point. You had to know it was coming. Did you think you guys could kind of battle through it and at least be able to release something so that people could really make up their own minds at that time?
Yeah, we did think that we'd be able to battle through it. Certainly. And in fact, we had conversations with a number of the largest publishers. I mean, I'll tell you, within just, you know, days of Konami pulling out, I was in meetings with CEOs of major publishers talking about 6 Days in Fallujah. And those conversations unfolded over a number of months. And what it came down to was the publishers at the time kind of fit into two categories. The ones that could fund it. This is the challenge, right? We needed a lot of money to finish the game, and fit into two categories. Either they were publishers that already had a military shooter, and so there were a lot of competitive issues that they had to work through internally in order to and as you can tell, that did not go as well as we had hoped it would, because ultimately they decided that a number of those guys decided that it was not appropriate for them to have another military shooter. But I will say this, all of those publishers are very supportive of the game. That was not the issue for those publishers. To their credit, that was not the issue for those publishers. The second category of publishers that could afford to fund the game, a lot of them were international, and they were a little bit afraid that the same sort of heat that came down on them from their local media same sort of heat that came out of Konami would come down on them. Right. So that ultimately, two categories of companies that had it didn't work out.
Yeah. And so Reed, for you, you know, you're somebody that helped in the original kind of phase production of it, and as well as more recently, as a person, as a veteran, right? As a guy that was telling his stories, making sure that they're doing it right. I mean, what's kind of going through your head during the first time that kind of went through all this, and then, you know, seeing the reaction from the general public?
You know, so during the first evolution of this, the public was very adamant that it was too close to home, meaning it was too recent of the events that happened, and there was a significant concern that it was going to downplay the sacrifices that veterans had made. There was a lot of controversy over, you know, parents. Even some of the parents that were in my unit were very upset about it. They thought that it was going to belittle what their sons had done, and that wasn't the case. But we never got the opportunity to really show everyone that it wasn't the case. And that's what I'm kind of hoping that, you know, now with the reintroduction of it, that we'll get that opportunity to actually put it out there. You know, the media was quick to sensationalize the whole, it's a video game.
Mm-hmm.
In actuality, that is the medium in which it's being done. But Peter and his team has done a fantastic job of making it more of a documentary.
Right.
You know, they're recently in the video where it shows some of the live gameplay. I've had peers of mine, and I shouldn't say peers. I've had people who are better at gaming than I am, because I am not a great gamer.
Mm-hmm.
But they ask, you know, well, how come there's no scopes on the weapons? How come there's no ACOGs? And it's like, at that period of time,
right,
not everybody had those, you know, sight systems to put on their weapons.
Yep.
So there was a lot of talk about things like that. And one of the things that, you know, Peter and his team has done a phenomenal job is at least showing the realities of the situation. It's been kind of described as a documentary slash horror type evolution because you're not getting, one of the things I was joking with Peter about is, there better not be an episode in there where you shoot a box and all of a sudden you get a bunch of M16 magazines show up full of ammunition,
Right.
And there's not. I mean, it's very realistic. You go into the scenario with what you have is what you got to get to the end of the scenario with. And if you waste all your ammunition because you're not, doing what you're supposed to do, then it doesn't work out well for you.
Yeah. And that there's so much gameplay stuff I do want to talk about too and touch on. But obviously, right, we had to clear the elephant out of the room with all this controversy nonsense. I like I said earlier, I don't get. I'm a person who I might have an opinion, right? You see a movie trailer, and I'll have an opinion like, oh, that movie's not going to be that great, or that looks amazing. But we all know until you sit your butt in the seat and see it with your own eyes, you can't really say it was great or not. Really, you can't. Can't judge a book by its cover, right? So I'm hoping that this really does get the chance to be what it is. I mean, I haven't played it. I can't say if it's a great game or not, but I'm very excited to, and I know I want to experience it for myself before we make any judgments. I gotta ask Peter. This is, we kind of touched on it about how it's almost like a documentary. It's almost this experience you have trying to recreate scenarios that these guys are sharing, these stories that they're sharing. How do you walk the fine line between, hey, this is a video game, it's meant for entertainment purposes, but also educating, kind of seeing what it was like without going into the ultra realism of like, this is literally exactly what it was like, which is, impossible to show. So how do you guys do that?
So I think we had a slight error here. I think Peter accidentally fell off, and then so until he gets back on, I'll try to entertain.
We lost him for a second.
Just a little bit. One of the things that I was assisting with to make sure that the realism aspect of it, you being a gamer, you understand that some of the games that are out there, they over exaggerate some of the explosive capacities of certain weapon systems.
Oh yeah.
We know that a hand grenade will not destroy an entire building. So that was one of the, aspects when I was helping to consult, talking to the engineers, talking to the programmers to make sure they understood that, it's not like some of the previous games. You can't just take a weapon system, a tank, for example, would put a hole through a wall, wouldn't necessarily take out an entire building,
right?
Depending on how close or how far away it was, when it was being utilized.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Oh no, it's incredible. We see it all the time. It's such a part of our fantasized culture where it's like, you see the grenade tossed and this giant fireball in the movies, and or they fire this RPG that they shoot down a helicopter with, and you're like, what? Those things are impossible to shoot. So it really is cool. I've watched the gameplay trailer a ton of times. As much as to be able to see that, like you said, there's no scopes on the weapon. There's no, it's very minimalistic in the sense of like, hey, what you have is what you have. I noticed, you're not a gamer, but there's very little. You don't have the radar map in the corner, and you don't have the compass going this way and that way. Hey, we got you back, Peter. I see you, but
I apologize for that.
No, you're okay. It happens. We're live, man. This stuff happens. It's half the fun. But we were just talking about the realism in the sense of, a grenade isn't a giant fireball. You don't have the zoom in, like you look down the sights and somehow your eyeball just zoomed in a 3x zoom. I noticed from the gameplay footage too that there is no mini map. There's no HUD. There's no heads-up display. It's very minimalistic in what you can see, and I'm assuming that was a very conscious choice on your guys' part.
Yeah, right. So there's, yeah, that's correct. So the HUD will be minimal. There will be an optional HUD. So
right.
there are going to be some for people who want, but we've got some interesting ideas on how we're doing that. Yeah, the rest of it, we're trying to be very, very close to what we understand that the situation was. And for example, if you do happen to have an ACOG, so fire team leaders typically had an ACOG
right.
as well as the 203 mounted, right? And so, the guys kept telling us, nobody uses their ACOG when they're clearing a house inside, right? They're looking right over the side of the ACOG. And so that's how we map things out inside the game as well.
That's incredible. I saw a bit of the mechanic, right? The go command is a big thing about communicating with your team. Like, hey, you do this, I'm going to do that. Watch this side, watch that side. Are there any other kind of like for you guys? What were the big building blocks, right? The things that we said, okay, this has to be a part of it if we want it to be as realistic as possible.
So there's a mountain of things that we're doing kind of on the smaller side, the detail side, like for example, aiming over the ACOG, looking over the ACOG. But we spent a bulk of our time trying to build two technologies that would allow people to maybe experience more of the feelings and tactics that we heard from so many of these Marines and soldiers as they came back. So the first one we talked about, we just announced it last week, actually, called procedural architecture. So we heard from so many Marines and soldiers that they never knew what was on the other side of the door. And this fear of the unknown is really is really central, not just to clearing a house, but you go all the way back to Clausewitz, right? He talks about uncertainty being one of the core factors of combat. But in a video game, it's the opposite, right? Because we play the same maps over and over again. So we always know what the layout of that house is before we go in, except for the first time we play the map, right? Mm-hmm. So we said if we want to actually try to get even a little bit of that fear of the unknown in players, they cannot know what's on the other side of the door. And so we spent about 3 years building this technology that we call procedural architecture. And so every time you play 6 days in Fallujah, the entire game world changes. We literally reshape the map. We reshape the insides and the outsides of every building and even the entire neighborhood every time you play. So you never know what's on the other side of the door. You never know what to expect. So that's the first really big technology that we invested in to try to simulate just a little bit of that uncertainty, right? And then the second thing you mentioned earlier, the go command. It's very difficult, we are told, very difficult for a single Marine or soldier to defeat an entrenched insurgent. But again, that's pretty much the opposite of the way people play video games, right? Because you may all be on the same team, but everybody's playing as individuals, not as a single coordinated unit. Mm. And so whether you're playing in single player or multiplayer, we have made the insurgents very difficult to defeat on your own. The tactics they use, the behaviors that we program them with, are much more realistic. So they simulate much more the way these stories that we're being told actually unfolded. It's very difficult to defeat an entrenched insurgent on your own in 6 days in Fallujah, just like it was in the real battle. You've got to coordinate tactics with your team. So we've got the go command. I've been in video games for 30 years, and 20 years ago or so, a bunch of tactical shooters came on the market, and they started allowing you to direct your team. So original Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, these games. And the problem is, though, that you tell your team what to do through radial menus. There's oftentimes a lot of button presses before you actually get to it. And goodness sakes, you got a threat right in front of you. The last thing you want to be doing is messing around with the radial menu. And it's just not the way the guys did it, right? I mean, all these teams that work together, they're trained, they know what to do. It was really, again, listening to what the Marines are saying. They said, you know what I do? I point.
Yeah.
I point. I say go, and that guy already knows what he's supposed to do, right? So with the go command, a player can order their team to suppress a target, so they can flank. They can order the team to stack on a door so the team can enter with force, right? They can arrange the team so that they can achieve fire superiority with the go command. And all of this is done simply by pointing and pushing the go button, and then the computer knows what to do based on what it is that you are pointing at.
Right. It's contextual via the situation, right? It's I know if I'm telling my guys, hey, this, and like we're being shot at, that means they're coming from there. It doesn't mean go open that door. Like you figure like, okay, we're together. We understand. So that's incredible. That's awesome. And again, it's true to life in the sense of like we're moving simultaneously. We're together. We've done this so many times that we know what each other's thinking, and we use the minimal amount of signals and things like that. I mean, a lot of times it is a lot of screaming and a lot of yelling, but it's almost like war cry versus yelling commands. Yeah, and guys, right now we have a bunch of people watching live, so please keep the questions coming. I'll try to get to them. I have a bunch of my own questions, but I do want to get to some of the audience questions as well. So guys, if you have questions about the game, please let us know. So while the people are commenting in the chats, what's been and I guess this is kind of for both of you, Reed from more the publisher side, and then, or I'm sorry, Reed is from the story side, and Peter from the publisher side. The biggest kind of hurdle for each of you. So Peter, more of like the technological hurdle. What was the kind of the biggest thing to get over? And then Reed, I'd love to know, just in sharing your story, in opening up and giving the information, what was kind of the biggest hurdle to be able to open up yourself and share those stories? So whoever wants to go first, I'm fine with.
You know, I would say from the technical side, certainly the biggest hurdle is the procedural architecture. I mean, that took us 3 years to build that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it affects everything. So here's the thing. I don't think everybody, it's not just about rearranging the architecture. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, everything, the way you build a game changes, because so for years, game engines have assumed that the environment remains static. And the reason for that is so that we can pre-calculate everything.
Right.
So if we pre-calculate everything will run faster. So we had to figure out how to make all those things run faster when they're not pre-calculated. As you can imagine, that's just this enormous technical hurdle. So, but I would say that's the biggest technical hurdle. But I think the biggest hurdle for the game itself is more the emotional hurdle, right? It's how do you get players to empathize with that situation that individual faced in real life? That's the challenge, and that begins with technology like procedural architecture and the Go command.
Yeah.
But it also includes the storytelling, right? And so one of the things that we're doing that's just different than other games is that each mission begins with an interview of the person who was really in that situation. And then the video vanishes and you're in Fallujah experiencing that same scenario through their eyes.
Yeah.
Right? And as you play, these people will actually share what they were thinking or feeling.
Wow.
While you're experiencing these very same moments as if you were them.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Because that's a lot of times the missing piece. If I'm playing, again, not to name competitors, but Call of Duty, and it's like, oh, I just watched my buddy die, and he's like, wow, but the nuke's gonna go off. I gotta, like, you're not really feeling that moment. You're not feeling the experience, the connection, the brotherhood. That this is like it's just all adrenaline and all attack, and so having some of that emotional connection is going to be phenomenal to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it by seeing these real people on the screen, in these video interviews before the mission. I believe that it brings them from being just an avatar on a screen, right, to becoming a real human being. And then you experience their actual story, and they can talk about how that moment affected them. They can talk about what they were worried about at that exact moment, what was really going through their head. We've got all these things on interviews. Keep in mind, we were interviewing, in this case it was Marines specifically, we were interviewing Marines just, weeks after they got back from Fallujah.
Wow.
Just weeks, on camera, interviewing these guys. And so their recollections of the situations were just very, very fresh. Sorry, forgot to turn that off. Their recollections of the situations were just very, very fresh.
Yeah.
And I think what is most remarkable to me is we re-interviewed a bunch of those guys. Reed is one of them. We interviewed Reed, I think in 2008, and then we interviewed Reed again in 2018, so 10 years later. But we also took a bunch of Marines who we interviewed back in 2005 and interviewed them again in 2018, 2019. And the thing that struck me was that there are moments they blocked out. There are entire experiences.
Oh, we might have lost him again.
Since he kind of froze, and I'll interject here.
Yeah, no, go ahead, please share.
Yeah, like Peter was saying, part of the issue with for us, telling the story is making sure that the story that we're telling is being portrayed on the screen properly. We took it upon ourselves to share our experiences, but we also took it upon ourselves to ensure that we were doing right by our peers and by our fellow service members. Like for me, I was in the Marine Corps, and several of the guys that are in the different scenarios of Marines as well. But I had an entire, Army unit that I had to interact with. In fact, there was a section in the lower portion of the city in which, this cavalry unit came in there with their Bradleys and, cleared a section of the city before we went through as well. And, just making sure that interaction between ourselves, other service members, can be portrayed properly is, pretty incredible. It's a pretty significant obstacle to overcome.
Yeah.
When I was watching the video of the live gameplay, I mean, it was very surreal. It was like, here we are again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There's some really phenomenal questions coming in. Do you know if are they planning on doing like destructible environment? Is that something that's going to play in, or I would imagine that.
Hey, let me clarify something. When you say destructible environment, what exactly are you asking? Because I'm very emotional about everybody being the whole use of the term white phosphorus. It's like this sensational term that a lot of the critics keep saying, and I was there. This stuff is used as a smokescreen. It's not used as, a destructive force.
Right.
Of people that are insisting that that it was this massive war crime took place with all this stuff.
No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, Peter, we're back. I was just asking Reed, something like destructible environment where you can shoot a missile at a wall and that wall's gone. I would imagine the with already what you're doing with procedural architecture, that might be too much of an undertaking, or is that part of something that's there?
Right, that was a big part of what we were doing back in 2009, and there's some destruction, but it's not the same level of destruction of what we were doing back in 2009, where you could take apart a building brick by brick. And
Right.
So no, we've kind of shifted a little bit more towards procedural architecture.
Yeah, I'm with you. If I had to pick one, I think that one's the way to go. I'm looking
back to what we were talking about earlier with the the hand grenade doesn't blow up the building.
Right, exactly. Some questions from the audience. Are there going to be weapon malfunctions?
Absolutely.
We're dealing with that. We're dealing with a very
better understand tap back and bang.
Okay, all right. There you have it.
Reed is an advocate for that. I'll tell you that.
I mean, it happens, man. There's a reason we train for it, like all the time. Okay, we're looking through. Sorry, everybody's ever had. These guys are going. They're going ham. They're asking for mini games where they have to do cleaning drills on their weapons. So things like that.
No, that's something we might want to throw in there, Peter. Where you have,
Not so sure.
Yeah, it's the what? Remember the? I know, Pete. I know you know this. The QTEs, man. Quick time event, right? You gotta hit the buttons just in time to clear the barrel, clear the jam, and Okay, what else? I mean, my God, everybody's they're really enjoying this. So you guys are doing awesome. Let's say, do you foresee that this is a game that could be used almost as immersion therapy for some people that are struggling with what they went through over there?
Yeah, so it's it's a great question, and I know I'm not honestly qualified to answer, right? So there's a medical degree that's really necessary to answer that. I think that question. I will say that I know of many people who are using video games, collectively using video games to as therapy, military shooters as therapy,
right?
And I think there's also we have received quite a few emails actually from veterans asking whether or not that we could recreate things in such a way that would allow them to re-experience a person or an event. The thing that one of the things that struck me is, even when we're doing these interviews 14, 15 years after the battle, every Marine said, I think about Fallujah every single day.
Yeah.
I still think about Fallujah every single day. And I got to tell you honestly, there's nothing in my life that I think about every single day. I have not experienced something so traumatic that I still think about it every single day. But yet Marine and soldier, that after Marine and soldier tells me that same exact thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So many great questions here. Will players get to pick their loadout, breach equipment, shotgun, flashbangs, things like that? Obviously things that are of that era.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a great question. So I don't want to give away too much there. Okay.
Right. No. Skirt the question if you have to.
Only because we're going to.
Let me interject one thing for you, Peter, to save you from revealing too much. You're not going to get anything that wasn't authorized for a normal Marine member of a team. You're not going to get the super squad weapon with the, mega shooter 2000 electro mode, whatever. It's, if it was of the era and it was part of the normal, loadout, then yes, you will have access to it. But you're not gonna be the guy that gets to pick up 6 RPGs and carry 15 RPG rounds and 12 AK-47s or anything like that.
Right.
I have heard some stories.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say there's war trophies, but so there's a great question, Daniel.
Right.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, we're giving players a loadout that was issued at the time, and
absolutely.
But there's some other things we can do in various parts of the game that will give us some flexibility, give players the opportunity to experience more than just an M16A4.
Fantastic. This is an interesting one. So Daniel wants to know, is there any possibility of VR application in the future?
I'll tell you, we actually prototyped a version with VR in just 3 years ago or so. So there is actually already a prototype of 6 Days in Fallujah, just as maybe a 20-minute mission or so that was running all in VR, but everything worked. You use your hand to open up the door knob on the door and pull it, and I mean it was very tactile, right? Besides being tactical, it was very tactile because it was VR. And that actually, I put the VR goggles on a number of Marines for that, and that was a moving experience for many of them.
I'm sure that I've been in some of those simulators that are, I mean, not that great, but the big, you're in a Humvee and it's got the screens on the side and things like that to simulate convoys and whatnot. But when you put that VR headset on, that's a whole nother ball game.
It's a whole nother thing. So I should be clear. We've prototyped it. I can't promise we're going to release what we did publicly.
Of course.
But we have prototyped it, and that's not out of the question.
Yeah. World exclusive. You heard it here, folks, guys. It's happening. This thing's coming out next week. It's doing it. So, I like this one. Chad says, is it storyline or like a hard story you're following, or is it slightly more open world? And does the 6 days play into the game at all? Meaning, like, you have to worry about fatigue and resupply, night operations, things like that.
Yeah. So we're kind of breaking the experience up into a series of 6 days, and we will within each of these days jump between different units.
Gotcha.
That we're operating across the city, and then as far as whether it's a hard story, I mean, in each of these for the single player campaign portion, I mean the multiplayer experience is going to be different, right? But for the single player campaign portion, we are each of these missions are recreations of somebody's real story.
Right. Yeah. No, it's powerful, man. Because I think back to my missions and to think that, like, because I've told the stories, right? You sit around the campfire with the guys, you crack a beer, you're telling the stories, and I'm like, wow, to be able to pick up a controller and then play a recreation, a version of that story, if you will, that would be incredibly powerful. How have the guys who, their stories being utilized, how have they, what's the reaction when saying, like, okay, here's your story come to life?
Yeah, so we've only been able to do that in fragments so far.
Right.
And when we have done that, it's I mean, the comments are pretty dramatic from these guys. Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, they're and then I've also had, for those who haven't been able to actually experience that yet, they just keep asking me how soon they can.
I'm sure everyone's chomping at the bit. Another good question here from Michael. Peter, I know you were involved in the original incarnation, obviously, with Atomic Games, and what kept you so gung-ho to say, like, even all these years later, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna pick this up, we're gonna finish it, we're gonna see it through the end? What drove you to do that, and what does this game finally coming out, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. It's this, I think it's shameful that we refuse to tell stories of individual sacrifice because the war in Iraq was so controversial. I mean, just think about this for a minute, that the men in the lead units that we've spoken with were told that 70% of them would be killed or wounded in the coming days, but they went in anyways. And then in many of these units, when 70% were actually killed or wounded, they regrouped and they went in again. These are stories that are as remarkable as any from American history. And the only reason they're not being told is because of the context of the Iraq War. I think, first of all, I think that that's not fair, certainly to these individuals. and their courage and their sacrifice. But quite frankly, it's not fair to the greater population not to be able to be inspired and to learn from these individuals. And so when you ask why have I spent 11 out of the last 16 years of my life on this project, it really comes down to I've heard these stories, and I think an awful lot of people both want and need to experience them.
That's
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid if we don't do it, nobody else will, because 15, 20 years later,
that's incredibly powerful. And now, no offense whatsoever, right? But you are selling a game, right? So for the critics that are out there, I'm going to ask Reed this, you know, as someone who you're not part of the team, right? You're the guy that they came for advice and stories and information. What do you say to the people that say, hey, you know, I've seen the comment, I'm not going to call anybody out, but, you know, this can never touch, you know, the real life experiences we had. This will downplay what it really was like. What say you as a person on the outside who's been involved in it? What do you say?
So absolutely correct. It'll never be reality. Okay. I mean, we never say it's going to be reality. We're very adamant that this is a recreation. And because first and foremost, if you're using a game console and you're using a controller, it's not like holding a rifle. It's not like grabbing a hold of a radio. And, you know, that's probably one of the reasons that my peers and even my children tease me all the time. It's like, how come you never play video games? It's because it's not, I can't do the same thing with the little controller in my thumbs that I did, you know, holding my weapon. But the scenarios are as close to reality as we can create, and you will get an experience that you will never, ever be able to achieve through a first-person military shooter game.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, you know, it's important to understand no media can fully capture the experience of war.
Right.
But that does not mean that no media should try at least to capture fragments of that. Right?
Absolutely.
If you think about the argument for a video game can't capture the experience of war, is the same argument as saying no film should try to capture it, no sculpture should try to track, you know, no painting should try to capture it, because none of us can. But we can capture a fragment of understanding for a people who otherwise will have not even that access to that fragment, right? So that's that fundamentally is what we believe, and we can do this in a way that passive media cannot, right? As a video game, you know, video games are the only medium where it's about what you do rather than just simply watching what somebody else does, right? And so with 6 Days in Fallujah, we're trying to combine both, right? Where we're going to take a documentary segment where we can very respectfully tell somebody's story, but at the same time, then we can set up a scenario that asks you to try to solve a challenge that's very similar to the one that you just saw in the documentary. And I believe that trying to solve a challenge for yourself gives you empathy for the person who tried to solve that in real life.
I mean, just to wrap up that little comment there, I mean, I want to use an example like several years ago when Saving Private Ryan came out, the opening combat scene, you know, where they're storming the beach, that was like, everybody thought that was the most realistic thing they'd ever seen. But as Peter described, it is a artistic portrayal, and it really didn't depict it portrayed a lot, but it wasn't, you know, the people that were there that got to experience it. It was totally different than what me as a passive participant got to see on the screen. And so through this game, while yes, it will not be exactly like the way it was, but you as a participant, as a player, are going to experience something that you would never have been able to experience just talking to fellow service members.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I obviously I'm an avid video game player. And you know, while I do enjoy the spectacle of the big military shooter and explosions and things, you know, I'm the kind of a guy that I'll watch documentaries. I you know, watch the movies and the stories. The recent one, The Outpost, was a great film trying to, you know, show what it was like, right? This isn't a documentary, but just show us what it was kind of like being there. And I feel like a video game, it, you know, there's just people that aren't going to watch the movies, and so this is their way in. Or there are people that, you know, don't feel connected to it, and so this is their way in. It's an awesome thing you guys are doing. We're running short on time, but I want to get a couple more questions while we have you guys. This has been absolutely awesome. Is there a reason why the first Battle of Fallujah isn't part of the game, or is it just because of, you know, the stories, time specific, whatnot?
Well, actually, it's not safe to assume that the first Battle for Fallujah is not part of the game.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. We'll leave it at that. Okay. I like that. I like that. All right. What else?
I mean, maybe if I could just answer that in a broader sense.
Sure.
I think one of the opportunities, one of the things we're trying to do is give players context into why there was a second Battle for Fallujah. And that is very difficult to do unless you talk about the events that led up to it, and perhaps give players the opportunity to experience parts of that too.
Fantastic. So Dave says, I know it's far in the future, but will there be updates for the game, including maybe new stories or new scenarios?
Yes, right. I think there's I think that there's, first of all, there's way more stories than we could possibly put inside of a single 6 Days in Fallujah experience. We have a responsibility, I think, to bring conclusion to the stories and provide a full experience. But then perhaps after that, there might be opportunities to tell more stories, and not just from that, not just from that battle too, from other things that have happened since then.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, a lot of people are putting in the chats about other combat scenarios, places, and times. So I'm sure there's, you know, if this is, you know, a massive success, are we seeing a franchise? Are we seeing sequels? Other stories? What is the future? Maybe. What could the future look like?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're pretty focused on just making sure that we're able to make this game.
Of course.
But we have a very keen interest in telling more stories.
Okay, fantastic. And before we let you go, I did read somewhere that portions of the proceeds of this game will go to a number of charities. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually going to ask the people whose stories we're telling to help us decide which charities to send that portion to. I mean, that's a great privilege for us, right? I mean, to think that if some of the work that we're doing can both tell these stories, but also provide some little bit of help, I think that's part of the honor of being able to work with the people we're working with.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm big supporter of many different military charities, so that's very cool to see. So obviously I don't want to add, usually, you know, if I'm talking to an actor or director or somebody, I say, oh, well, what's next? What's the next project? But obviously you guys are focused. You want to see this to the goal line, and so I won't ask what's next. But for those that are out there that are very looking forward to this game, where can they go to learn more? How can they stay involved? Plug away.
You know, I think our website, 6days.com, is probably the best place to keep up with what's going on. Yeah, people can join our forums. We've got community forums there, and love to have veterans participate in that. And then otherwise, our Twitter account, which is Victura, at Victura, is also a great place to get news. If they follow at Victura, you'll find a lot of more information. Trust me, when we make a big announcement, We make it in two places. We make it on our Twitter account at Victura, and we make it in the news section of our website, 6days.com.
Fantastic. What about you, Reed? How can, if people are interested to learn more about what you're doing, I know you're, I mean, I looked at your bio, man. You are a fascinating individual. We didn't even have time to touch on all the crazy things you're into. But where can people learn more about you and follow what you're doing?
Well, that's a great question. I haven't really thought about it myself.
I just assume everybody has a thing they're pushing, so it's your opportunity.
Well, you know, I'm not really pushing myself, but you know, I am more than welcome to answer questions. You know, if they want to look me up on Facebook or Twitter. If you look at me up on Twitter, it's Adventure Riding with Dad is my handle there. Because I do a lot of motorcycle stuff these days, and you know, keep myself busy by getting my hands dirty and doing a lot of engineering and throttle control.
Fantastic. Yeah, I have to say I got sent the link. SurvivingTheOregonTrail.com has a very fascinating write up on you and all your activities. Including what was it? Aikido? Is that the one? Aikido. Yes.
I'm an instructor in the Japanese martial art of Aikido, and I run an active dojo now, and we train 3 times a week. So we're looking for more students. So if you're interested in doing Aikido, let me know. Be happy to help.
Fantastic, man. Thank you guys both so much for being here. This was absolutely incredible. The audience thanks you so much, and they're very excited. Hopefully, when we get closer to maybe a release, we can have you guys back, and we can all celebrate together and do something fun. But thank you guys so much for being here.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
We're gonna don't leave me just yet, but we're gonna go to a short break. When we get back, there'll be a little bit more show before we say goodnight. So we're gonna go to break. We'll be right back. Shots.
My name is Jason Kyle. I was a sergeant with Lima Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines.
U.S. Army WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
We are back. We are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Radar's back. Hey.
What's up, guys? What's up, everybody?
How phenomenal was that conversation?
That was amazing.
That
was amazing.
And look, let me take a second to just say that I acknowledge not everybody had the same experiences over there. While I can't think of anyone who's had a positive, fun, good time in combat, there are varying levels of degrees of how we're doing now, how we've coped with what happened, how we're moving forward, how we are whatever. We're all at different places. Absolutely understand that. I am still in recovery, both physically and mentally. There are good days and bad days. We all who went and did and were part of that are changed forever. No taking that away from anyone. Absolutely. I choose personally to honor those that I've served with, honor those that we've lost, living my life every day as fully as possible, as positively as possible, being appreciative for every day. I mean, I'm a guy, for those that don't know, I was shot 5 times during a mission. I died twice and had to be brought back twice. I was in the hospital for 2 years recovering, underwent over 44 surgeries to get put back together, and live with pieces of me missing and live with pain every day. And it's not an easy thing to do. For me, I make the choice to smile every day. I make the choice to be positive every day and to do good every day. That's me. Not everybody's in that place, and that's okay. I love each and every one of you guys for being here, for being part of the show, for interacting, for opening up. If you got something positive to say, great. If you got something negative to say, I understand. You know, you're allowed to say how you feel and what you have. And if you feel that this is a safe place to let out what you have, go for it, man. No one should feel attacked for anything they're saying. I don't feel attacked if you guys disagree with what I say. If you think I have stupid opinions or that I talk too much about comic books, hey, that's just me. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being a part of the show, for being in the chats, for being, so you know, you're taking your Tuesday night to be here. And so for that, I thank you for being part of this, no matter what.
Right. I'm going to say this, though, too. Like, if you do have a negative opinion on whatever, dude, like I go around half the time of my life pissed off. I'm not CQ. I'm not happy at everybody all the time. I'm not.
You're the yin to my yang, man.
I am. But what I'm saying is you have lived whatever you did and have done and will continue to do. And we are here for you, like it or not. You know what I mean? Like if you have an issue that you need to reach out, go ahead, hit us up. That's what we're here for. You know, we talked earlier about this being a volunteer thing. We do it to help you guys. You know what I mean? Like, see, because sometimes when you're angry, you got to get that shit off your chest. Fucking yell at me. I don't give a shit. Whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Or yell at each other or whatever. If it makes you feel better at the end of it, to call me retarded for 10 minutes. All right, cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even know what you're talking about, Radar. I probably don't, but I still run my mouth. So, but in all reality of that, like, you know, find what helps you and to cope and to get along, and you know, whether it's to play video games or not play video games or ride a motorcycle or do martial arts or go fishing or go camping or fucking ride a bicycle or work out or whatever it is you do to make your life better, man, and keep doing it.
Yeah.
And we're here to help each other, to reach out to each other. And you know, that I don't think there's a bigger community of people, a legit community of people than veterans.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh, you're my brother. We really are brothers and sisters here. You know, we look out for each other. We should. Yeah. And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So
and
I mean,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
No, go ahead. I think the difference of opinion. I got a whole boatload of kids. Yeah. And they love each other, but they have different opinions on things sometimes, and that's okay. Yeah. Don't forget that person that you're talking to, up or down, either way, that they're brother or sister of yours, and you got to respect that a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, Junior, I see your comment. He says, "Can he message you guys? I have a question." Yeah. If you're talking about us, Pop Culture Warrior, sure. If you're talking about WTF Nation Radio, sure. If you're talking about U.S. Army WTF Moments, sure. Message us. Just make sure you're sending it to the right person, you know, because we're here at Pop Culture Warrior. It's me and Radar. But if you want the whole group, then
yeah. Or if it's about the game, we're past that. We can't ask them any more questions.
Yeah, you missed the boat on the game questions.
They're way cooler than we are. That's why I don't even talk, man. It's like I just keep the cool people on the radio. I just more questions on it. But yeah, you guys are more Junior or anybody. You guys are ask us questions, man. Whatever.
Send us questions always.
We have a script, quote unquote, a script that CQ doesn't even email me anymore or DM me. Or fucking.
Your reaction is better if I don't send it to you.
Whatever. Don't send it. Oh shit. But we have a loose schedule. But if we get off the rails from time to time, man, that's what we're here.
Yeah. That's the fun thing about doing a show like this. And I will say one last thing about both Peter and Reed. My personal opinion, Peter is a guy very accomplished in development, in video games. I mean, the guy's been doing it since the late 80s. Like I said earlier, he was part of Bungie when they released Halo. He's had work in Destiny. He worked at Apple under Steve Jobs. This is a guy that, you know, if you want to say, well, he's taking advantage of these stories to make a profit on a video game. Like, this is a guy that could literally be doing anything else and not have to face a percentile of the backlash a game like this is going to face. So this is a guy that He's been passionate about this project. It comes across in talking to him in his other interviews that I've listened to and I've read. You know, I mean, he could have easily gone anywhere else in the video game industry, worked on Assassin's Creed or you know, Gotham Racing, whatever you want to, and would have just had a cushy job. And instead he chose to work on this game that's like literally trying to defuse a bomb. It's like making this game is like literally you're trying to defuse a bomb that's gonna blow up. And so, you know, I give him kudos for being so gung-ho on this project and committing to it and wanting to see it through. And then with Reed, again, another incredible guy who, you know, open enough to share his stories. We've all been through some shit, and sometimes the hardest thing to do is talk about it. And so to be able to share his stories and help, you know, take his time to help, you know, he's not part of the team. He's not getting paid. You know, he's just a consultant. He's an assistant, you know, a guy that's going to give them ideas or feedback. But to take his time,
consultants don't get paid.
Well, I mean, I get it depends.
I wanted to be. That was like my dream job 10 minutes ago, man.
It depends. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But yeah, for him to be so committed to making sure that this game can be as authentic. Again, realistic is a word that gets thrown around and it has many meanings and many interpretations. But I think the idea is to provide an authentic experience, to be as close to the experience without enlisting at 18 and going overseas and going to combat. You know, it's that what it is. But with that, Radar, you got anything else? I mean,
I was waiting. I thought Junior was going to send me a message about
Junior. We're waiting on your message, man. We're sitting here.
Like, send me a message.
Shoot, hit us up, man. We're sitting here waiting. Mike, I see your question in the chats. Peter, he started Victura. Yeah, he's the founder and CEO. Now, he was the head of Atomic Games, which was the original company working on the game. And again, I highly recommend, there's a great video online if you want to learn about what happened the first time they tried to make it. It's called The Most Controversial Unreleased Game, you know, an investigation of 6 Days in Fallujah. Or just look up 6 Days in Fallujah on YouTube, you'll find the video. But it talks about how the game was originally pitched, how it was developed. And like he said, it was originally going to be like this game where destructible environments were like a big deal. This is, you know, years before Battlefield was doing it. And then when that game folded, you know, a couple years went by, then he started, Victura, I believe it is, Victura Games. And then, their first and only project is.
You're just not on the pronouncing thing tonight, are you?
I'm tongue tied tonight.
You are all kind of tongue tied.
Oh my goodness! Though. But yeah, so he did start Victura Games, and with the only expressed idea is to see this game to fruition. They're also using the development team called Haywire. I think it's called Haywire Games. Give me 1 second. I had it here. Haywire, right? Haywire, is that it? Yeah, Highwire Games, which is a small development team of like veterans that are you know, working to you know, make this game a reality. So very cool, man. The whole history behind it and everything.
Are they like on Grandma's Boy? Is that like that? No.
What?
Grandma's Boy, the movie.
Yeah,
like where they develop video. It's like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Man, I want to do
that. Except not in their grandmother's basement, I would imagine. The one question I wanted to ask him, and that we've asked so many people that I totally missed out on, was how has COVID kind of affected all this? You know, like,
yeah, we missed that.
You know, how is it? You know, what was the transition like? Did they start working from home and all these different things? But oh well, maybe I'll email him. I don't know.
Oh, he messaged me. What did you send me? Oh, hold on, no.
WTF.
I have to do it on my phone when you send it to my Radar one. I gotta do it on my phone.
All right, so while you guys have let me just hang here while you guys have a private chat. I mean, I'm getting jealous now. I guess he did he write you now?
He did.
Okay.
He asked. It's this is okay.
Well, if he's messaging you
gonna
privately, are you sure you want to read this out loud?
I am.
Okay.
I'm going to give him a little bit, and it's just going to be a real quick answer. I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
give him more in depth return.
Okay.
This is a sergeant's time question.
Oh.
I will try to help a little bit. I may have to refer him to. No,
The
you
boss?
didn't make it complicated, dude. It's not that at all. It's that.
We're teasing, man. We're teasing. It's all good.
It's that. I don't want to give you horrible advice at this, so I might have to pass it on to somebody who's a little bit more experienced than I am.
We'll get
So,
you to the
all
right
though.
people. We'll get you to the right people. Scott, is Victura part of another studio developer, like how Bethesda is under ZeniMax? As far as I know, I mean, I haven't dug into like the shell companies and things like that, but as far as I know, Victura is the studio publishing the game, and then Highwire is the development team, like doing the nuts and the bolts of the coding and things like that, as far as I understand. Yeah, I think that's it. It's just those two studios are involved. So yeah, it's interesting, man. Yeah, if you look into the history of it, it's actually very fascinating. Very fascinating. Maybe I'll link that. I'll put that on the Pop Culture Warrior page, the link to the video about the history of the game. But yeah, I'm super excited, man. I'm super excited to play this game. I'm not gonna lie. And let's be honest. I mean, I hope not, but it could be a terrible game. I mean, people spend years making this stuff, right? Like, they spent years making Justice League, and that first run at it was, oh boy. Catwoman, the Halle Berry Catwoman movie. There was people, they tried, like, they thought they were making a good movie, and that was a hot steaming pile of garbage. So,
Well, but I mean, Halle Berry was in it. And she's,
yeah,
she's Halle Berry.
you can't trust me. Watch the movie, you'll fall out of love with
I
Halle
watched
Berry.
it. That was the one from like I was probably like
2000 something.
2000,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it. Yeah, it was garbage.
All right, here you go. And because Scott has asked for it, I'm gonna drop it in the chat. Let's see if I can do this.
It's up in the top, isn't it?
Boom. No, this is the link to the YouTube video of the most controversial unreleased game investigating 6 days in Fallujah. Hopefully they don't get mad at me for sharing that. I don't know if that's a thing, but all right, guys, it is the end. The end is nigh. The end is nigh.
It is nigh.
Mr. Radar, would you tell the fine folks at home what they have in store for the rest of the week?
Yes. Well, tonight you have been listening to Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and Radar, and our awesome guest, Peter and Reed. They came on talking about their game 6 Days in Fallujah. Tomorrow, Donza, Day of No Scheduled Activities. It is a Wednesday night, and we won't be here. Nobody. Well, I'm not saying nobody will be here, but we'll be in the radio. Sorry about it. Thursday, Sergeant's Time. Ice, Spanky, the Big Sergeants, bring you all things active duty, National Guard, reserves, all that stuff. They'll be talking about Army stuff, the big Army. You got to talk about it. Then Friday Night Freedom, Kaz and Pookie. We'll be bringing you some cool shit. Apparently Pookie's mad because I got a circle. I got a bubble. I guess he doesn't. Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, not the crappy halftime show, but the actual days that we're going to be off. Friday is Good Friday. I'm not, is that going to, I guess I don't know if Kaz is going to have a show on Friday with that.
Great question.
But, yeah, don't know. Anyway, and then we have Easter on Sunday, so you guys all enjoy your Easter with your families and whatnot, if that's something you do celebrate. Monday, come back on Monday after the days off. Well, we have every weekend off because we're ballas. Monday, the Monday edition, Ice and Flash, talking about all things cool that's happening in the world right now. Some current events things. It'll be interesting with those two. So maybe they get flashed on a tirade or whatnot, but it'll be fun. And then come back to us on Tuesdays.
That's right. That's right. And one more time, just because I see it, I love it. I love you guys for being the reason. Our 2020 Podcast Award nominee, Entertainment, Pop Culture Warrior. Thank you guys for being part of this show. And thank you guys for hanging in there. There's 61 of you still out there. I can't believe it. But this is it. This is the end of the show. We got nothing more for you. There's no post credit things to watch after the credits roll. So you can go home now. Be one with your families. We love you. We'll see you next week. Radar? Shots, my friend. See you next week, guys. Bye.